So hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my glorious co-host, Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, man, I'm good. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, all good at my end. Weather's just changed again. It's absolutely abysmal up in the northwest. Lots of rain and hail and sleet, and yeah, it's been a bit of a shit week. To be honest, it's been a bit of a shit week. Yeah, it's been one of them. Not a lot to really talk about in Commanders Land, Scouts, but we'll try and keep the mic rolling wherever we can for our band of brothers that are out there in the chat, who I'm sure will join in soon. But yeah, it's been one of them weeks where not a lot going on really, but we'll try our best. Hello, Yam. Nice to see you in the chat. Nice for you to be with us. Really good numbers last week, mate. Really impressed. Not impressed with obviously the people who watched it on YouTube, but also through X. I mean, unbelievable! Lots and lots of viewers through X, which was great. So obviously it works if you're following us. If you're following us on X or following the show on X, the pod is live on the stream as we speak. What I'll do is I'll get Scouse to tweet out a link in a minute. And those who downloaded the pod, thank you again for doing that. This was actually our second highest show ever last week, so we really appreciate that. We're only 6 away, weren't we, from getting it to number 1? But yeah, we appreciate it. Hi, Rod. Thanks for being in with us as well. We appreciate you being on the stream. So, I mean, looking at this, Washington Commanders. If I count in as well, this is it's going to be a good chat tonight. I can see that. Basically, we'll start off with a bit of news as always, Scouse. I mean, the Washington Commanders finished their coaching hires now with they've named John Glenn as assistant special teams coach. Glenn's came across from most recently serving as the linebackers coach for Seattle Seahawks from 2018 through till the 2023 season. So obviously he's come across and followed Larry Izzo across. He's entering his 13th year as an NFL coach, and he's had 12 consecutive seasons with the Seahawks organization. In 2023, he was Seattle's linebacker core. They were really, really good. I mean, they proved the foundation of the defensive unit with Bobby Wagner leading the way. He was leading the entire NFL with 183 tackles. And then Glenn has also helped linebacker Jordan Brooks transition from will linebacker through to middle linebacker. And Brooks led the NFC, and he was 5th in the NFL with 161 tackles. It's also 4th most for a single season in Seattle history. Thing is, though, we're not counting him on what he can do as a linebackers coach. Great to have that depth, but you're here as an assistant special teams. I mean, I know linebackers are very heavily involved in special teams,
especially the fringe guys. Yeah,
that's sure. What I mean. Yeah, and it's not just about running down and being gunners, and you know what I mean, and running down the field. There's a lot more to it than just a kicker, long snapper, and a punter. So I'm not a special teams expert. Honestly, cards on the table. Yeah, I watched the kicking team and the punting unit, and that is about it. So, but it was always the case, wasn't it, that you tended to have over these last few seasons, the likes of your David Mayos and stuff were special team aces, decent players. Burgess was a special team ace.
Still got some talent there even now, even if we don't actually pick up anybody else, which I'm sure we will. But, you still Casimir Allen's still here. He's just signed a proper contract today, I think. Obviously he pulled up with a hamstring quite early on, so we didn't really know what he can actually do. So that'd be interesting to see what he can do. Then obviously you've got Butler and what's his name as well, the 7th rounder Christian Holmes, who were both really good, really good at special teams, especially like as you mentioned, gunners. They're really, really fast, know what they're doing. So we have got some talent on special teams.
I mean, it's quite clear that this guy, John Glenn, he knows Larry Izzo, and Larry Izzo's brought his guy across from Seattle, and I'm quite comfortable with that. It was clear, it was obvious that they're not going to keep the new Mike Macdonald regime up in Seattle. They're not going to keep that regime there.
Guys, you know what I mean?
Of course he does. It's his first head coaching gig, and that's part of it, isn't it? I mean, we've talked about this before on previous shows, but it's the nepotism of the NFL. I'll always hire my mates, and which is quite disappointing. But we haven't done that here. You know what I mean? They all kind of interlink somewhere along the line. But
yeah, but that's what I mean. They know each other. Isn't that a nepotism type thing, though? Even though it might be a bit more, far out branched as such. As you mentioned, Larry Izzo knew that guy we just hired. Mr. Glenn, is it? So you've got there's so many different links to each other and know each other. I mean, there's the odd one like Kingsbury and stuff, but most of them actually been known each other and either coached with each other at one point or known each other. Those type of things. So it's nepotism, but is it nepotism or is it just a case of that that basically they know that these guys can coach well and also understand the systems? So is it that, or is it more that it is nepotism because they are their friends? Do you see what I mean?
I don't know, mate. I'm looking at this and thinking if it's the big decisions, as in the big hires, your OC, your DC, your special teams coach to some extent, or coordinator, and then head coach. Obviously, the head coach will normally bring their guys in. But if they've got a proven track record of how they can coach, then I don't see there's a problem there. I mean, if you look at Joe Witt Jr., you're going to say, look at what he did in Green Bay. You're going to say, look at what he did in Dallas over the last couple of years. Absolutely, you can see that. Okay, he hasn't had a DC job. I get that. But fine well, he is a good coach in Dan Quinn's eyes. Whether he is as a DC, it remains to be seen. We'll find out. For Cliff Kingsbury, that's a little bit more out of the box for me because he didn't really have any links to Dan Quinn. And they just seem to have got the right man or the right headpiece at the time to do this job. And I just think, okay, I get it. All the other ones have seemingly worked with each other somewhere along the line. Or
I mean, the thing is only the Kingsbury one and maybe Anthony Lynn, but then I don't know if he's actually coached some of these guys. I don't know. But
Brian Johnson, there's nothing there. There's no real links to the regime there either. And I mean, I don't know where Ken Norton.
Well, he was Seattle as well, wasn't he, for a long time?
True, so he was. Right there.
I don't think even Quinn even coached with him. So it's just kind of like, I'm
not sure who's the other. Fangio. Not Fangio. What am I talking about? Anyway, I've lost the plot.
Eagles. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's kind of, is it friends or is it
Pagano?
These guys have also got some talent, but I think it matters if you win.
Yeah, I agree.
Coaching, it's this and that. Where if you're shite, then it's our nepotism. You just hired your friends who were shite, not good enough. See what I mean? So I suppose everything boils down to winning. I think every single time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, we've got some questions in the chat here. I mean, Viscount said, anyone stand out with you from the coaching interviews yesterday? That's my lovely wife.
For you, that one, mate, not for me.
That's my lovely wife. Yeah. So
the troll.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Viscount said, anyone stand out for you with the coaching interviews yesterday? I'm not sure who was interviewed yesterday. Obviously, apart from this guy who just brought in to complete it, John Glenn, he's the only guy I know who's came in from special teams. But we've had our say on the coaching hires as a whole. Anthony Lynn is the guy I think is going to bring the most to the table, and we've got a bit of a question a bit later on this actually. So we'll get into that. But I mean, your favourite hire, I suppose, Scouse. Did we already talk about this last week?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and I agree. If you're looking at one on the offense, one on the defense, then I'd say Anthony Lynn for offense, and I would say Ken Norton for defense. So we'll see.
Oh, I see what you mean, Viscount. You said interviews by the press, not the management. I did forget that actually, so thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah, it was yesterday. It was the press were able to go around and speak to the positional coaches individually. I honestly haven't caught up with that. I'll be honest with you. I haven't had the chance to listen to pods. I haven't seen anything on Kimes pod or anything on any of the other ones that are on there, and not much on social media, to be fair. So I need to look at that, and then obviously I will remember that Viscount. I'll star it, and we'll bring that up next week on the show. Rod's got a question. He said, I feel DQ has brought together a school of ideas from every area of the field, so it won't be boxed in as a T that plays in a certain way. I agree with you. We're not boxed into being a team that plays a certain way. I think, as we've just said there, Anthony Lynn will keep the run game honest, especially with Cliff Kingsbury. If he decides, I'm going to go more air raid, pass heavy on the offensive side. The only question mark is around offensive line, and obviously where we go with offensive line. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly where we go with that.
You need to know more about this coach that we've hired as well, because
correct.
Let's face it,
Bobby Johnson. Yeah, he's not done it at the Giants, has he?
You're only as good at your last game, aren't you? Or your last coaching position. No, at the end of the day,
yeah.
And he didn't really. He did okay in his first season, but second season, shocking. Isn't
it amazing, Scouts, how I watch the talking heads on YouTube and stuff like that who are, let's grade the coaching hires and let's grade this. Every single one of them said that Dan Quinn's a terrible hire. And I'm like, hold on a minute. You're not including everything underneath. But what really annoyed me is half the videos were going through, oh, look, here's, Callahan, and he's brought his dad in. And you're like, okay. And then, oh, here's such and such. And they've brought this person in. I was like, well, hold on. I did a 4-page list last week on who Dan Quinn and Adam Peters have brought in. Why are you going through that? But yeah, I mean,
very, very true. I'm just thinking, we just need to. It's always been that way, though, wasn't it, for such a long time, that we are the team to shit on for talking heads and national media and all those types of things. So it's let them talk shit about us. We'll see us in week 1, and then hopefully playoffs at some point. Maybe this season, but we'll see.
Interesting here. Viscount's obviously popped in the chat live here. He said Bobby Johnson came across really well in the interviews yesterday, and he's recommended anyone out there who's watching or listening who hasn't, look at the Washington website. Some very good interviews on there. So thank you for informing us on that. We really appreciate that. A bit of a discussion on X this week with Scouts, with one of our regular contributors here to the show, Rod Morrison. You and Rob went a bit back and forth, and we're going to bring this up. Obviously, discussion on the free agent quarterbacks or the draft, kind of where you stand. I know I saw you and Rod going back and forth around Kirk Cousins and around who's free, who's not free. We can pull up the list of free agents. Baker Mayfield is free agent, good quarterback, had a resurgent year.
That's what he is. Forget about him.
He's a number 1 overall pick from a while ago.
If he was any good, he'd be tied down by a 10-year deal, just like Mahomes would be. He's Amsterdam about 5 teams. This guy's bang out at best.
I think he will stay at the Buccaneers, and I think they'll pay him in the offseason.
What's the OC? Canales has left.
That's right. Canales is now the Tennessee Titans head coach. Is he not? Oh no.
Where's the affinity for Baker Mayfield?
Where's Canales gone? Carolina he went to, not
6-year deal and all that. He started all that 6-year deal crap off. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. My issue I have, not issue. I don't mind Kirk. You know what I mean? I don't mind that Justin Fields, trading for Justin Fields. I don't mind what they do. We need to be mindful here of is whatever they decide to do. We're not a GM. We're not the ownership group. They have what I believe will be our best interests at heart. At the end of the day, this whole rebuild let's get it right, recalibration will set Adam Peters either in the right direction or the wrong direction. But if we get it wrong, we're another 5 years in the hole, which is not what we want to happen. So this is why I just cannot see them not drafting a QB at 2. We can talk about it. We can package picks back up. We can go into the first rounds. We can, get him back in the back like we did with Montez Sweat when we went back into the first round for that trade. I can't see anything other, Scouts, than going at 2 with a QB purely and simply for the money reason and for the 5th-year option. Exactly. You cannot afford to spend 40+ million on a quarterback right now. It's just not.
Our team isn't good enough for that yet. If we literally were a veteran quarterback away, then fair enough. And you got some money, you can be able to do it. Then go for it. I've got no problems with that. But when we got half a team And it's a whole, as you say, it's a full on. It is a full on retool.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
It really is. There's going to be some. Yeah, sure, we'll have maybe 20 guys left, but most of the team, half these guys were bench players anyway. Who are still under contract.
Yeah.
So to find starters at cheap prices is going to be difficult. So
it's going to be impossible.
It's got to be quarterback at 2. I mean, even though I'm a big fan of Howell, I still think he can be solid in the NFL. I really do. Once he gets his confidence back and gets coached up properly, I mean, he might even surprise everybody. But you can't, when you're at 2, you just can't, especially with the good quarterbacks that are in this draft. I mean, this isn't a Mitchell Trubisky draft. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a quality QB draft. So, you've got to take the QB. You hope to God that you've nailed your franchise guy for the next 15 years. And, and then everything else can come with it. I mean, when was the last time we could say that? A 15-year quality.
We haven't.
We've never to do it.
No. I mean, I'm looking right now. I'm on Spot Track right now, and I'm looking at the QB class here. And I mean, I'll give you the names. It's just, it's not here. Kirk Cousins,
old,
last year, 35 million. His market value is 39.3 million, is what they're reckoning.
I would be 36, something like that.
Yes, 36.
With an Achilles as well, by the way.
Yeah, not good. Ryan Tannehill, Jacoby Brissett, Mitchell Trubisky, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock. I mean, Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield is
probably the best out of them, and he's not that good.
Baker Mayfield's market value is apparently 27 million. I mean, it's all good saying, "Oh, look at what we've got. We've got 80 million, or and you can finesse that and get it to $1 million." But we've got 26 million. 26. We've got 26 new people to get hold of just to get to 53. Bear in mind, you've got to have a 90-man roster at training camp. So where are we getting 50?
All these guys are going to be from unrestricted free agents. That's where all going to come from. The fillers at the back end. That's where it's going to be. So for me, you've got to go heavy on the offense in the draft and use the money for defense. There's better players available on defense than offense this year in the free agency market. So
absolutely,
you've got to go that way, because it means if you've got more quality players, means that you might get more competitive deals. You know what I mean? Like, if, for example, if you've got one absolute stud and that's the only guy available in that position who's free agency, he can name his price and he's going to get it because someone's going to pay him because he's that good. Where if you've got 4 or 3 guys that are close to that level, then you might have to take a little bit less, because these are, see what I mean? It's all negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, all these guys are mercs. Did he play for the money? It's as simple as that. There's no true affiliation to your team. That's why I still like John Allen around, because he is from the local area and he is actually was a Skins fan. So even though he's been pissed off recently, but that's why I like John Allen, because it's very rare you get those guys who truly are fans of the team growing up. There's not many of those guys around, especially in our team. So I
mean, I think there's ways, and I totally agree with you. I mean, we don't always agree on everything, but I agree with you on this one that you have to use the free agency time to make your defense better, because this is where it's at in defense. I mean, I'm just having a look here. We've got Bryce Huff, who I've been talking about for weeks, and now all of a sudden every man and his dog's jumping on Bryce Huff. So he's the name for that. I've said it to you a month ago. Bryce Huff would be my guy, is where I would go on the edge. Yannick Ngakoue's out there. There's other people out there. Patrick Queen potentially. But the big guys, your Brian Burns.
That's
your Brian Burns, your Josh Allens. They're gonna get franchise tagged.
Yeah, but I think I genuinely believe that Allen will probably get tagged, but I don't think Burns will. I really don't.
Do you think they'll let him? Do you think they'll
let him walk? Yeah, see what he can see. So obviously with Rod talking here, because obviously we're answering this question, weren't we, originally? So
we were, yeah.
Now, so he's mentioned. So who will it be? May Daniels or McCarthy? Well, to be fair, McCarthy's not going number 2. I mean, no. If I was, number 32 and I had no quarterback picked, then I'd probably think about McCarthy.
That's not a slight on McCarthy. I think McCarthy's a quarterback. I think
he's
decent,
just not talented.
He's number 4 at the moment on most people's boards, and from what I've seen, he is number 4. But some are saying that he's a riser and he could end up going to the second, to the second overall place.
No chance. No chance he's going
second
there,
QB, not second overall. Second QB off the board.
Let's face it, QB's going to be number 2 as well. So you can call it the same. It's not going to be that way. It's just not. I mean, McCarthy, he might look good. I mean, like anything, if you have a good combine, good pro day, you might go up maybe 5 or 6 spaces. But the thing is, he's not going to go top 10. I don't care. Even if he balls out, he's not going top 10. So if you want to trade down and get extra picks and all the rest of it, now McCarthy could be a shout later on, let's say in the 20s, mid-20s, 25, 26, something like that. Yes, okay, I'd take him around that level, but anything higher, that's a bit of a reach for me. For me, out of those guys, I'm still going with Drake May. I mean, the guy's got all the throws. I mean, Daniels, don't get me wrong, Daniels is electrifying. Don't get me wrong, especially on the ground when he's running. But the problem is he's built like a toothpick. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone hits him, he's going to be gone. He's going to be injured straight away.
He takes some serious hits, doesn't he?
Because it shows that he's got balls to stay in the pocket, because he does do that as well at times. He's quite happy to take a hit to deliver a decent throw. But in the NFL, sometimes, I mean, great to be brave, but with his body the way it is at the moment, you get hit by a Brian Burns or something like that hard, or game over. You'll be getting picked back up off the streets from the guys. You know what I mean? You'd be absolutely smashed into next week. So that's the problem I've got with Daniels. Even though he's never been injured, actually, he's played 55 games in college, which is really, really good. I mean, it's excellent, to be fair. And I'd say he's not missed games, which is great. But the NFL is a different level when it comes to physicality, even with the way the referees are and how they punish defenses for being overly violent. But I tell you, he's going to get hurt. He's just like a Lamar. He's not Lamar Jackson, but he's that type of style, and he's going to get himself hurt because he can't slide that well. He can slide a little bit, but for me, May's the better option. But also, May has some dumbass plays as well. When I've watched some of his film, he can throw the 60-yarder to you right into your hands, and next minute he'll miss the 5-yard crosser. Do you know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. He's that hit and miss. But if you can train that out of him, his footwork's really good. That's what I like about him compared to, say, what Howell was when he first came out. May's footwork is really, really nice.
His fundamentals are there. He's got a great deep ball as well. He's
in the right stance all the time, and he can run.
And he's taller. He's your prototypical quarterback.
That's what I want to see, because we've not had one of them. When was the last time we had a 6'4" quarterback who was actually any good?
Yeah, I know. Listen, if he performs anything like the comparisons that he's getting, which I know is lazy, but he's being compared to obviously Justin Herbert. Listen, if we can get that type of quarterback here, I think this offense can cook. And I think you're right. I think we can find our franchise quarterback for the next 10 plus years. I mean, Daniels has been comparison to RG3. He's had comparisons to Lamar Jackson. I don't want that dual threat running guy who is basically a running back. I mean, for me, Lamar Jackson, yes, he got MVP this year, but he doesn't throw enough balls. Doesn't throw enough. Yeah. He doesn't. All his touchdowns are short. They're short fields, and yet Lamar Jackson has one of the best deep balls in the NFL. He's amazing. He really has got a good deep ball. But I just think
I've never rated Lamar as a passer, a true passer. He's as I say, he's great with his legs, and he's always going to kill you. He knows when to tuck it and run. Yeah. He is genuine dual threat. But as in, I don't think he's that great as a passer purely. If you made him stay in the pocket all the time and let him beat you with his arm, I think after time he'd be so inconsistent. He really would.
Yeah, I mean, Rod's nailed it here in the chat. He said, I think May and Sam are cast from the same mold, but he's taller, which is important in the NFL. Completely agree with you. They're both UNC quarterbacks. They've both been in that same system, that Longo system. They both understand the game the way it's meant to be. They're really good mates, Rod. That's the thing. They're pretty much best mates from what I'm led to believe. I mean, if you go back and you look at Sam Howell's workout videos, from right back at the start of this season, him and Drake May are working out together with their own quarterback coach. They're always side by side. So I was like looking, going, because people were making the comparison then. Oh, look, there's our next quarterback to Drake May. And I was like, is it? If it was me, absolutely, I'd take, in a heartbeat, I would take Caleb Williams. He's just not going to be there. I mean, am I still on the Sam Howell train? Yes. Do I still think he could do a job? Yes. Is he going to do any more than Taylor Heineke would do? No. That's the thing. At the moment, he's only going to get you 5 to 6 wins,
and that's the difference, between a true starting caliber quarterback and a good backup, is that you can get 2 or 3 games out of him at a good level or high level, but then the downs are so bad that you look a joke. You know what I mean? And I think Sam's in that mold at this moment. So I'm not going to write him off after one season though. Of playing mostly every game. So I'm still fingers crossed for him, but at the moment, yeah, he's going to be a backup. And the thing is, though, you mentioned there about May being his best friends and all that. I mean, could that even be a problem? Because don't forget.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Don't forget, them being best mates. It's great, but the thing is that May's coming in to be QB1, and Sam was QB1 ahead of him at Carolina. So, see what I mean? So there might be an element there of it. Yeah, I'm better than this guy. It might make Howell play even better in training and think, oh my God, this guy's the second coming. Who knows? But interesting dynamic.
There's been lots of rumors and this is why we call it Lion season, because no one knows what's going on. People are talking about this player. People are talking about that player. It's been, last week it was Drake. Well, we're back on Drake May now. It was originally Drake May. Then it went to Jaden Daniels. Then it went to a little bit of, we don't know what we're doing. Trust Justin Fields, trading in, getting this player, getting Bo Nix. And then it was like, okay. And now it's back to Drake May again. And that is pure and simple. The fandom is bored. The season is over. There is nothing to talk about. We are a month and a half away from being there. I mean, here's one for you, Scouts. The combine starts on Monday. Do you think at any stage in the combine process that any of these even top 4 quarterbacks, supposed top 4 quarterbacks, are going to do anything at the combine? As in, they're going to do any of the drills whatsoever. Run a 40, do the jump, get measured in. I don't think any of them will. I think Penix might. I think Penix might, but
I think some will do some of it. Like everything, If you don't want to show if you're not very fast over a 40-yard dash, you don't want to run the 40 yards, do you? And let's face it, because they're going to make you look like, oh, you can't run, you're slow. So, and that which might knock his potential, position that he's going to get picked at. So I understand why guys who aren't confident in certain aspects of the combine. I understand, but. For example, I think you'll see Jaden Daniels run it. I think you'll see a lot of all the guys are going to do the passing drills. They've all got to be showing how good they are. Not just being. It's also a presence. Even though I know it's not a full O line in front and it's not all that. It's just literally some guy faking the ball to him or whatever, and he's just getting the ball. But it's about poise and stance and all those things, demeanor. It's all these things that I take into consideration when I look at quarterbacks. Not just how good or how accurate he is with the pass under no pressure, because most of these guys can throw it with their eyes closed. These little mini routes.
The Lion bit here is look at remember Zach Wilson when he threw that deep ball and everyone went absolutely mental. That's what got him the 2nd overall pick, and he is absolute garbage. Garbage.
Yeah, at the start of that, he was probably lucky to be 20th, and he ended up being number 2. And again, it's look at the draw.
Garbage.
At the dash. For example, I was watching Anthony Richardson last year. I was going, mate, this guy's awful. This guy is awful. And I know him from a Gators fan because he is. His accuracy is not good at all. I mean, he's a great athlete. But look what happened to him. Great athlete. Got hit after week 6. He's out for the season.
Yeah, shoulder.
You only had a concussion at week 2. So
we've got no idea what he's actually going to be.
Yeah, you don't know what he's going to be. But
and look at this. Look at the size difference that you've. Yeah, look at the size difference you've pointed out there in Daniels and Richardson. And if that can happen, I mean, you might say that Tennessee may have found their QB in the guy who was bloody drafted on the second day, Will Levis. That's the one. I mean, I look at that and think, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but this is why you have to go QB at 2. You get that 5th-year option, and these top 3 are, I think you can't miss. I really think there are 3. I think they're 3 franchise quarterbacks. And we've never had that. In my entire fandom, mate, your entire fandom, tell me a franchise quarterback. I mean, Kurt, you could have said potentially was a franchise quarterback. RG3, when I first started following the team properly and pinned McCullers to the mast, yes, that was, that season, I was well excited. That was what got me infused with it. Robert did this to me. I'm blaming Robert for everything. But yeah, I mean, I look at that and think, yeah, you could have been something, but injuries, and that was it.
It's true. I mean,
don't start, Rod. We've got him. He's here already, Scouse, here with his conspiracy theories about what about this? Let's play hardball with the Bears.
I would do it.
Justin Fields is getting traded in about 3 weeks' time.
I'll be like, mate.
And then as soon as he's traded, they've shown the hand. They've shown the hand.
Well, exactly, but we've got to see it first. It's all well and good. As you mentioned, it's Lions season. And you mentioned that, and obviously recently, I think it was his Instagram or something like that. He unfollowed the Bears or something like that, wasn't it?
He did, yeah.
But again, that's Lions season.
But so did Sam Howell unfollow the Commanders. And there's been talk this week about
getting traded to Jets.
About trading to the Jets, but I mean, I don't think you're going to get much trade compensation there.
Well, would you get a 4th rounder? I'll take that.
Yeah, I've heard that 3rd rounder, but no way.
Don't forget the Jets are shafted. Let's face it, the Jets are shafted at QB. I mean, yeah, okay, they got Pegleg coming back. No, from his first Pegleg.
Pegleg.
So he's gone.
Pegleg ayahuasca smoker, yeah.
Yeah, so he's gone. And then you've got...
Now there's a man for conspiracy theories, Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so Rodgers with his Pegleg, you know what he's going to be next season. That's even if he's any good at all.
We don't. Was he 38 or is he 39?
Yeah, he's old, man. Yeah, 30, 39 now. I mean, it's it's getting close to hanging up his cleats. You know what I mean? So then you've got Zach Wilson underneath him. No, he's going to be cut probably end of the season. And then looking for a quarterback more than anybody.
Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones are available.
Yeah, how horrible are they? So I mean, like, there's so many horrible quarterbacks out there. This is the problem. Like everyone rips into Sam Howell. Sam Howell's better than those guys you just mentioned.
I still believe that. So, yeah,
I think he's better than those
I still believe that too.
Yeah, better than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's god awful.
I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know. I'd love it to be Caleb Williams, but it's just not going to happen. And I don't think we've got the draft capital to trade up and to do that.
No chance.
No. I mean, we'll get into it then, Scouts, because this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream, I think. But we've already done half an hour, which I don't understand how we've done that. Deluxe has nailed it as well. There, the future of this team may be the brightest it's been in a long time. And I noticed what you did there with the May. M-A-Y-E. I like that. Good wordplay. I'll give you your dues there. So our first fan question this week then was from Tim Towner, and it was actually last week he put this in. So I apologise to Tim. I wasn't doing my job and it slid into my DMs. So apologies for that.
No one wants to slide into your DMs, mate.
I was waiting for that. I'll set myself up there. I'll rack them up, Scouts. That's how it goes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Carolina picked Bryce Young first, and Houston picked Stroud second. But Carolina were awful, and Houston reached the divisional round. Do you think the results last year say anything about the ability of those QBs, or do you think it was down to coaching or lack thereof?
Well, I think there's so many facets to that question because you're looking at Bryce Young as number 1 overall quarterback, and
awful.
For me, he was bad. He was bad this season, but the thing is, as I say, he had no O-line. He had no line as bad as ours, which doesn't help anybody. The guy's tiny. Let's face it.
He is small,
and he's not as fast as say Kyler Murray is, who plays at that kind of height. Runs around and a Wilson style type of quarterback. He isn't really like that. He's a kind of pocket passer, but he's only 5'10". You know, these guys in front of him are like 6'5", you know what I mean? Who can get their arm up like this and say, go ahead, then try and thread that needle through my arms. You know, it's so difficult for those quarterbacks. That's why I don't like small quarterbacks in general. You can't see over your line. You can't see over their line either. You know, it's kind of like it's this nightmare unless you're a rollout kind of quarterback. And which Bryce was trying to do that because they were obviously that's what they were trying to do with him. But again, he's just not as accurate on the rollout and stuff with his throws. So
coaching played a massive part there as well.
Coaching, maybe. But again, for me, CJ Stroud, for me, and this is, you can go back to anything like the start of last season when we first started doing these pods, I was saying CJ Stroud's the number one quarterback in this draft. And you know, especially after the combine, I was like, man, I love this guy. I'd love to have him, but obviously we weren't number 2 that year. So, but yeah, I mean, he had the height. Everything was smooth. I mean, his mechanics were great. You know what I mean? Like everything that you want to see in the quarterback. Okay, combine, just with the pinch. But nah, man, I loved it. I loved them coming out of the combine.
Exactly that. I mean, the other part of that question says, does the roster around the QB and their level of play matter more than the college that the QB went to? You've nailed it there. I mean, how many years have we heard Ohio State quarterbacks don't work? Well, CJ Stroud will tell you otherwise. Do you know what I mean? I mean, and the way that they change, the way that they change now through the transfer portal every 2 seconds. I mean, I don't get it because I'll be honest with you, I haven't got a college team. I don't really watch college football until it tends to get to get true. It's really hard to get true coverage of it. But Joe Burrow was at Ohio State. Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State. Jalen Hurts, I think, was at Ohio State. Transferred. Yeah, but he was at Ohio State before that. He was back up to Haskins. Okay. He was actually back up to Dwayne Haskins.
Is that what? And then left him. And then
and he went to LSU. And then they're all transferring all over the spot, and that's the problem. So I think this argument of Ohio State quarterbacks are shit in the NFL, I think that's for the birds now.
I mean, we mentioned it before about the Texans. The Texans I think they did it the way that Ron really wanted to do it, as he always mentioned.
Absolutely, yeah.
Build the team and then drop the quarterback in, and the quarterback was the right quarterback, and they obviously went, from nowhere to playoffs in one season. So, so is it coaching? Yeah, there's an element of that. I mean, the DeMeco Ryans an excellent coach, and Slowick looks like he's the real deal after one season as an OC. So let's see what he's like next season, because it's always a second year. It's always a second year bumps for all these newbies, including players and coaches. So we'll see.
So the next part, there's another question here from. Sorry, I'm just laughing at my wife. Just laughing at my wife here. No, saying, "Do I want my wig on?" And she's updated the profile picture of me with what looks like a wig on there. So if you're watching on YouTube, that is myself with a wig on. So I wish she wouldn't do this, but she does find it hilarious. So that's fine, no problem.
So why she keep doing that?
She can keep going because it's live and we're getting one more follower, so I don't really care. Would you be willing to put together a package of picks to move back into the first round and ensure we get an impact prospect at both O-line or a skill position? So, i.e., a quarterback with a wide receiver, or the quarterback at 2 with an O-lineman.
I think it just depends who's there available at that point. I mean, if someone's fallen and you actually love this dude and you got to have him, that kind of guy, then yeah, I can see us doing that. I can see us come back in towards the end of the first and see what he's about. I can definitely, like you mentioned, the Montez Sweat type of thing. I can definitely see us doing that. We've got the capital to technically go back up because we can utilize both our second rounders to go back up into the first. But it depends how what you've got to love somebody for me to be even happy with that. Because for me, I'm always a guy who kind of likes, you've got so many picks. Let's see who's best available at that point. But as in at a position of need as well, though. But with us, our whole team is a position of need. So it doesn't really matter who you actually pick. In the second round, you got 2.
The whole team's a position of need.
Yeah, right. Position of need. Every position you can think of in our team. We need help at all teams, all parts of the team.
We've had this question before, and I'm sure Doug McRae out there, Big Douglas show, he's done the same thing. I love Doug. He's a great human being. He was obviously on Kyle's show the other week on the Burgundy Zone, and I think he asked the question, or he had been asked the question, how many franchise like blue chip players do we have on this team? I think we've been through that a few times. 1, 2. I mean, I can't on a blue chip. I don't know what you mean by blue chip. It's hard to say, but realistically, honestly, is Terry? Take the burgundy glasses off now. Is Terry a top 10 wide receiver in this league? I would say no. Top 15, absolutely. Top 10, probably not.
I think he touches the top 10. I really do. And I think that's because he's had shocking QB play and he's still produced. So if we had a genuine quarterback with a genuine O-line, with an actual real scheme, then you can see Terry really fly. You know what I mean? You really could see him make a massive step up. He's talented enough to do it. We've seen this.
Let's have that discussion, and the chat can discuss it too. How many franchise-changing blue chip players do we currently have on this roster? I mean, honestly.
Oh yeah, we're limited. We haven't got many. I'll tell you that. I mean, I would put Terry in that. I would put Terry in that.
Okay.
Being honest. And maybe if you really wanted to, you could try and put Payne in there, but he had a down year with it when he got his contract. But they're the only two you can probably even possibly say.
I'd say Tressway is an absolute game changer. That's one. Tressway,
but even then he breaks his back just falling over. So everyone's saying it. Everyone's saying 0.
Yeah. 0, yeah. It's madness.
Hey. I mean, what's this? Scotty G having us off here. What's this about?
I know, yeah.
Hey, what's that about?
I know. Arguably, Rod's right with what he's saying there. Terry and B-Rob, probably. But, I mean, honestly, B-Rob, yes, he's got the potential to get there. John Allen, again, has got the potential to go back. Deron Payne, potential to get there. Terry, potential to get there. Dotson, potential to get there. Quan Martin, potential to get there, but nothing's concrete, is it? And that's
potential. You got to produce as well.
Problem, so there's talent. There's talent on the team. That's what I would say. There's talent on the team. 100%.
Talent, yeah. I wouldn't say blue chips.
There's not blue chips.
I'd say people have got their own opinion on Terry. Even they're saying he's good, but he's not blue chip. I get it. I mean, Jesse's one of them, and you could argue it either way. Personally, I think he's genuine borderline, but some people love him more than others, and I like Terry. So
won't have 0, my love, when we take that man Josh Allen from your beloved Jaguars, will we?
I can't believe you got a bird who actually supports the Jags. I mean, what's that about, man?
Just likes the emblem, mate. And then she actually started watching it, and obviously Trevor Lawrence has got similar hairdo to my wife, so you know what I mean. It's like that, and it's like that.
She can pretend to be the quarterback playing. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We sat behind, just for those who don't know on the show, we sat behind Terry's mum and dad were Trevor Lawrence's mum and dad were right behind us on the first game we went out to the States at FedEx, and they were getting involved, but the fans around us were actually getting involved as well, and we had to tell them a few times to just shut up and wind it in a bit. You know what I mean? It was like,
by the time we scored our last touchdown, they already gone. We turned around, they were gone. They walked out, mate. They walked out. Jesse being the realist as usual, or downcast. I don't know what you want to call them.
I would say, come on, Jesse. I would say Terry's in the top 15 in this league, but he's not. I don't think he's top 10. I agree with you there. No. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll skip over that comment. I'm going to ban her. No, I'm not really. No, I'd never do that. But next question, then we'll get on to is Deluxe, who's Arch Deluxe on X. He's also in our chat. So thanks for putting this one in, Deluxe. Appreciate you. He said, he said, I think Washington has more linebacker coaches under contract than actual linebackers. How many do you think this team needs on the 53?
How many linebackers? Depends what system you're going to start playing, doesn't it? I
mean, if you're going to traditionally go with 3 linebackers, let's just say. I mean, if you look at
a minimum. I always say you need at least 1 for each position as a sub, as a backup. So for me, 6. I like 5 or 6. That's what I like to have. If you're going to play 3, I prefer to have that. It's not like our DBs are that good that we can like leave linebacker cast aside and give us like only 4 and play with 2. No, we need real linebackers, and I think we're going to get that. I think we genuinely are going to get some linebackers in. and I can't wait to see what Ken Norton and the boys actually do.
I agree with you. I mean, for me, Jeremiah Trotter from Clemson is an unbelievable talent. If we get the chance to draft him in the 3rd round, if he gets that far, that's where you need to go. We've got to pick up linebackers. Jamin Davis, yes, we've got to keep him and see how he goes this year, because I think, and you said this before, that with this coaching staff that we've got, if we use him as a situational blitzer, the traditional line blocking blitz, he can be your Micah Parsons. He's very athletic. He did it at Memphis. This is kind of where we want him to be. Was it Kentucky? Sorry, not Memphis. That's AG. I got that wrong way around. But it's just, I'm looking at this and going, 5 is probably realistically where you need to go, and it's going to be tough to get 5.
You're going to have good ones. You can't just have 5
free agent.
You know what I mean? You can't have 5 players. You've got to have 5 good ones.
Well, we've made that mistake with having 5 players, haven't we? You know what I mean? I mean, look at the last 2, that haven't done the job. I mean, if you go into the likes of David Mayo again, then yeah, God help you. That's not the way to go. Cosme, good shout as well, Deluxe. I agree with you there. I think they've all got potential, all of them. I do think they've all got potential. Cosme is probably right up there. I'll give you that. And you could, as I said before, probably add Tressway to that too. David, Glasgow Skins, he said, if you had the option to cut 3 players on the current roster for further cap space, who would you cut and why?
Well, 2 of them are on the offensive line. It's easy enough.
I knew it straight away. I said this to David. I said, this is going to be short and sweet, but it's going to be offensive line.
Yeah, well, for me, it's Wiley and Gates. They both got to go. I mean, it's as simple as that. They are absolute dung, so...
Well, I mean, you will save yourself quite a lot of cap there as well if you cut Wiley.
And what would you do with Leno? I mean, Leno...
I don't want to pay him.
Leno,
I don't want to pay him.
But you don't have to pay him. You got 1 year left on his deal, hasn't he? So...
No, but it's a lot of money this year. That's
15, isn't it? 15 mil.
Yeah, but if you, 50. You're looking at that and saying 15 million for a left tackle. It isn't that much in the realistic terms of what the NFL is actually paying. But he is the absolute mid-range tackle. I think he was like 36th tackle overall, include out of left and right tackle. So he's still top of the middle third, if you want to go that. But I'm just saying, really? Do you know what I mean? Really? He's probably right. A guard doesn't change a franchise, but
yeah, I agree with that. But I'd agree with that. But the thing is, though, the quarterback what changes the franchise, and we've not got a quarterback, so that's the thing we've got to get first, man. Everything else is nice to have a guard who can protect them, but we haven't got world-class players. We've got some good potential players. I mean, we've got some okay-ish kind of mid-tier, slightly above mid-tier players. We haven't got like elite. Like if the Kansas City Chiefs come over and says, "Okay, I'm gonna start raiding the Washington for some players," they probably wouldn't do that. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no players here that they would want. See what I mean? So
it's true.
It's true. I mean, it's facts. I mean, you might think about maybe one of the wide receivers because the receivers are a bit meh. But besides that, you wouldn't see them taking any of our players. So
and that's the biggest letdown, isn't it? Wiley. I mean, honestly, he is awful. He is awful. So if it's me, who's the 3 cuts that I'm going to make, David? I'm going to say Wiley, definitely Gates, and probably Logan Thomas. Aging.
Yeah, I think Thomas is definitely one of the
aging tight end. 5.5 million on savings on the cap. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't bring Leno back, because that's 7.5 million on the cap that you can save. I do kind of agree with Jesse's stance on it, and that is put him at right tackle. Don't mind that at all.
Yeah,
if you can,
find
a left tackle.
You played left tackle for 20 years, mate, and then you played right tackle 1 year in college. That's all he's had. So can you expect him to turn up and play everything backwards of what he was used to doing? And to be high level? Unlikely.
Probably not.
You know what I mean?
Probably not.
People think it's dead easy to go from left to right tackle because left's a harder position.
It's a totally different world.
Totally different positions, yeah. You got to do everything the opposite way what you used to. You got to kick out to the right, not left. Your hands got to be set in position different. You know what I mean? Everything's got to change. So, it's nice to think we can do that, but you might fail putting him there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting in what we do going into the off season.
Welcome, Scott.
I think that Leno is an easy cap casualty for me. I still agree with that. 7.5 million is too much. When you finesse this cap correctly, if my guy does this properly and then he gets ahead of the game, we can have up to 100 million in cap space.
But Jesse, how do you know he can play both sides? That's the only problem, mate.
Rob Rogers needs to get
his right tackle at a high level. You don't know that.
Rob Rogers needs to get his calculator out like the Chancellor of the Exchequer and start crunching the numbers and go, yes, we can cut Charles Leno. Yes, we can cut Logan Thomas. Yes, we can cut Gates. Yes, we can cut Wiley.
There's probably 3 to 4 guys, and they're all on the offense that you could just easily go, yeah, you can go. You suck.
Later.
You suck.
And then you've got decisions on the other side of the ball in Kendall Fuller. And then, there's true.
15 mil for a project, mate. Nah, you're all right, bro. You know what I mean?
I get where Jesse's coming from. But if you're going to keep Leno, he's going to play left tackle.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So you find a right tackle, a Fuaga, someone like that, or you find you get a right tackle in free agency.
I love Fatanu, man. Get him in.
Fatanu's good. Fatanu's very good. I love that guy. Yeah. I'm not into that. Taking the chance to. I mean, he could play right tackle. I've got no problem with him playing right tackle. But yeah, you're right. And that's the other thing. Jesse's correct there. I mean, you've got a bit of a back and forth here in the chat. Scott G saying Jesse's wanting to take a 15 million chance on can he play right tackle?
I agree with Scott on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, but then Jesse's saying you just can't cut players with a plan. It's true. You've then got to, if you start cutting players, you've still got to find them players even more.
We might have a plan. We might be taking tackle in the 2 second rounders we've got. There's 2 of them right there. See what I mean? So
you've got to hit.
You've got to hit. I think it's so. Are you hitting on a Charles Leno playing right tackle?
No, are you hitting on? I go. For me, people aren't looking at this. I'd go Glasgow, Cushenberry at centre. Both of these in free agency, and then I've got a right. I've got a right tackle, and I've got a centre. Your right guard's already set. I can't remember who we had down as coming here as the left tackle. Cannot remember who that was for the life of me. But again, PFF graded, decent left tackle in a left guard who you can find for a few million quid as well. And then that's it. You're all set. You probably play Leno at left tackle if he stays. It's a difficult decision, and I'm glad I'm not in them shoes to make that decision. What we do want to see, though, is nasty MFers running forward and pounding people into the ground. That's what we need to do. That is what we need to do. So, yeah. But yeah, it'll take. You're right. It'll take more than one draft.
3 drafts. Being honest, we've got too many holes. We're not just like 2 or 3 guys away. We're fucking miles away.
And then again, that's why I'm pleading patience for people and saying, hold on a minute, we've got to plead patience. We aren't going to win a massive amount of games. We're not going to turn into the Houston Texans that were there last year. Look at the Detroit were rubbish for 3 years. Now they've finally got to the playoffs. That's kind of almost where you want to be. San Francisco, when Adam Peters was there originally, they were terrible. Took them 3 years, 4 years to build a franchise and get into winning tracks. That's what we need to do. We just need to see competitive football. And we need to see people going, do you know what? We'll get it. We'll get there eventually. But the problem you have got, Scouts, and me and you both know, this fan base, no matter which side of the pond you're on or where you are in the world, is not patient.
It's like the fans. Patient. I think deep down the fans want to be patient, but know deep down that we've been starved of success for so long. It's just so easy to get on the bandwagon if we win a few games, or to kick their asses, kick them in the nuts every time they play poorly. And no, I'll probably be the same on game day. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be buzzing when we win, and I'll be angry when we lose. And but you do have to think of the long term, the medium term game as well, not just the long term or the short term. You got a whole new staff. Everything's got to take a while to integrate, to be seamless. It takes time, man. And that's what we've got to practice, as you mentioned, preach about being patient and relaxed about things, even if you do get a hammering or whatever it is on game day. But I know, I mean, I'm talking my ass because I'll be the one flaming kicking off on the game day. You know what I mean? If we're playing awful, but because you badly want to win, we all want to win. It's just about kind of taking some of it with the rough with the smooth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Commander Viscount's our next question here. John Bowden Grace on X. He's also in our chat, I think. Still, he said, "Do you think there's any surprise franchise tag candidates?" Surprise ones? No. I've got one, but surprise candidates? No.
I've got one, but you'd probably be the same guy. Cam Curl.
Cam Curl. Dead bang on. Yeah. Not surprised though.
Yeah, he's the only one you could possibly think about it, and even then, you think that would still be a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Like that would be a surprise.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
How much is it? Is it about 12 or 14, something like that for the safety? I can't remember.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's it's a little bit.
Would you pay Kendall Fuller again? I don't know what the franchise tags are.
I would re-sign Kendall. I mean, people think that he's old. He's not. He's just turned 28. Yeah. Or is it just turned 29? One of the two. Because we spoke about this last week.
He's just turned 28. We looked at, yeah.
So check. Everyone thinks he's really old. He's not.
It's because he's been here forever. That's the problem, isn't it?
He's been in the NFL. He's 21 or something like that,
So I'm looking at over
he's 29, mate. He just turned 29 last week. Turned 29.
I'm looking here at the projected franchise tags here. I mean, safety is 16 million, 16.224. Cornerback is 18 million.
So are those numbers? You're not gonna tag any of those guys. You're gonna either resign them or just let them walk. I mean, there's no in between there.
I don't think we're gonna. Yeah, Curley's gone. Absolutely, Curl. Jesse said on there, Curley's gone. I agree with you. I think this would have been done a long time ago. I just, for whatever reason, he had a down year again this year, and are you going to pay 15 million plus for a basically an in the box safety? No, not for me. I let him test free agency. I let him say, do you know what? Let's see what we can do in free agency. And then you're very high on this as well. Let him test free agency, see what he can do, come back, and we can still match. Yeah. We can still match that offer.
Exactly. So I like this as well from Scott. There will be many salary cap casualties across the league.
Agreed.
That can become logical targets. Even Leonard was one of those guys when we first hired him in free agency. Yeah. He got cut from the Chicago Bears.
The waiver wires is massive as well. You've got to remember the waiver wire order as well. We're second. So, you know what I mean? There you go.
It's like first waiver wire pickup, are we? Okay.
Absolutely, because it goes in draft order.
Well, they didn't bring us our second rounder, though, does it? The second round pick in the draft.
No, I think that's the second round, but it always goes in first round draft order, the waiver wire. So we are second overall in that as well. So yeah, I agree with that, Scott. There's going to be many cap casualties. It'll be interesting to see who stays, who doesn't, who goes where, what, when, how. So an exciting off season, really. And we'll get on to our final questions then. It's Richard Cameron on X, Mr. Richard Cameron. Go and follow him. It's a QB room question. With all eyes on the draft and potential selection of a new QB at 2, do you think Howell will be retained? And also, do you let Brissett go and save money or keep him? If he goes, which vet QB would you bring into the room to provide some experience and guidance?
I mean, well, the thing is with Brissett is that he's not under contract. You had him for a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So he's gone either way, unless we want to rehire him. I don't think we will. I think he's a good mentor, sure, but I think he doesn't think he's too old yet where he can't do it himself. He's kind of proved in a couple of games last season that he played quite well for us when he came in. So I think he probably feels he can probably get a starting job somewhere. So I can't see him being retained or re-signed, should I say. I think Howell will be retained unless we get a too good offer from somebody offering us a silly pick for him. Besides that, I think he'll stay.
He's under contract, Scouts, and
he's under contract. There's no pressure to cut him or he's a fifth round contract.
You're paying him buttons. You're paying him absolute buttons.
Fifth round player's contract. It's they're cheap. It's like I think it's $1 million off or something like that. So he'll definitely stay. unless we get like something stupid like a Jets second or third rounder, then we might be interested. Besides that, I can't see us getting rid. And then you've got what was the other one about? Kind of what vet would you bring in?
Yeah, what vet would you bring in for a bit of experience?
Well, from the guys you mentioned there, I wouldn't bring in any of them.
Do you know do you know one who I'd bring in? Probably Gardner Minshew. Just as a bit of, you know what I mean? Like, show him how to be a
He's
pro.
out of contract.
Yep, he's out of contract.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, who else are you getting? Are you getting Case Keenum back? Are you getting Ryan Tannehill? No, he's someone who thinks he
people
can
like
start.
Ryan Tannehill ain't going to come here for the vet min.
Well, his market value is $4 million.
Wow. I mean, okay. I'll take a punt on that because he's old, he's got all his experience.
Rubbish.
Mate, he's going to be QB3.
But he wants to start. That's the problem.
Well, he's not going to start here, so there's no point if that's the case. If that's what he wants to do, he wants to start a $4 million year contract. No.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone to do that are rookies, mate. not old granddads. You know what I mean? These guys he's 35, 36, getting old, man. So, I mean, so you're looking for some guy with real experience. But who's also a good mentor?
Well,
you want a good mentor? Because Minshew as well was the same thing. He was like, he wanted to be a starter. No, he was even asking about the job at the Eagles when he was there. I said, I want the job. You know what I mean? He's saying stuff like that then. So he still thinks he's a solid starting quarterback. So that's not going to be a good thing for a young rookie to have some guy like that behind him. Personally,
Drew Lock's no good. Don't want that because he's still too young.
No, he's awful.
Marcus Mariota, absolutely not. He's a bell end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you watch that Netflix show, you'd see threw them under the bus, completely threw them under.
What I would do is ask if Matt Ryan wants to come out of retirement and come as QB3 and be a mentor, and you know, he's
not leaving the studio, is he? He's in the TV studio.
He said the people he said he'd love to play for Dan Quinn. He's already said that. Obviously,
I'm looking at this here. I mean, Sam Darnold, Joshua Dobbs, Tyler Huntley, Mason Rudolph. Yeah,
they're not experienced enough to say they're the vets you really want to give to our
Tyrod Taylor, maybe.
Yeah, but then the thing is, as Daniel Jones learned from him, doesn't look like it for me. Doesn't look like Daniel Jones has improved a lot since he's been there. So
I think Flacco will sit back on the couch. Jameis Winston.
Again, Flacco could be a good one. He did okay. He did okay last season when he came in. And I think he would be a good mentor. But again, it depends on the prices, doesn't it? These guys, a $4 million, as you mentioned, $4 million or $3 million sitting on the bench or as a QB3 and being a mentor to these two young
Gardner Minshew's looking at the vet min possible, and they reckon it's $2.5 million a year.
I don't want Minshew. I don't want Minshew.
As a QB3? Come on.
He's never going to take a QB3 job, mate. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone says, if you get him for a backup role, never mind the QB3. I think these old guys who are out the league, you just want to be around it again. The buzz of playing. Even, training, whatever you want to call it. X's and O's and all that. I genuinely believe, a Flacco or Matt Ryan or something like that. Again, the QB3, they should never see the field, and they shouldn't, being honest. But these guys have got shitloads of experience, and they've won, and they've been to the Super Bowl, both of them. Okay, Ryan lost, but Flacco's won one. So, these things are very, very good for experience for these young lads. Really is. If they're willing to be true mentors and not bell ends, then that's
it.
Yeah, because some guys got egos.
We'll just get Joe Flacco in, and he can sit on the bench and fall asleep. I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Yeah, eating his Cheetos on the side,
That's fine. It's no problem.
I just like it with the beam was. Remember?
It was, yeah. Final question then is also from Richard Cameron. He said, with the coaching staff now in place, looking ahead for the up-and-coming season, as an early prediction, which unit do you think will progress the most under this new regime? And then he said, offense or defense? I think we need to go through both of these. Do you think it'll be the defense will get better, the offense will get better, and also what position group?
Well, I think all have to get better. Every position group needs to improve by a lot, being honest. We've got the coaches, but let's see. We haven't got the players yet, though. That's the problem. We haven't got the players, so we don't know until we've got our full stack of players from the draft and free agency, we don't know who's going to be who's going to be the most improved. We just don't know who the hell we've got. But if you're looking at how good coaches are, you'd like to think defense would be a big one. Again, I think linebackers could you see a big step up there. I really do. We'll have to see about the kind of back end. I'm unsure about that at the moment. But again, we've got some good coaches there. But again, we've got to see who we've got playing there. We don't know. We've got all these youngsters. We've got all these youngsters there at the moment. So, yeah. So for me, probably more linebacker. And then on the offense, I reckon the running game. I reckon the running backs.
Really That's exactly where I was going. Yeah, I think corner could play a big part, but it depends again on who.
He's getting decent corner first. I mean, St. Ghost is god awful. You know what I mean?
St. Ghost.
St. Ghost.
Can't see him.
See there, Jesse.
All right, Jesse. Thank you for being with us, mate. We're just about finished here anyway. But I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you completely. It's going to be an interesting one. I think running backs with Anthony Lynn. If you can teach Christian McCaffrey for 3 or 4 years, and show you what he can do out in San Fran, and former head coach experience as well, he is a dude at running back. A running back himself, it's going to be he's going to be very, very good for them. I also think the Joe Witt Jr. bounce and everyone on the back end of that will make these players cook. I think linebackers are right as well with Ken Norton. I mean, Christ, who wouldn't want to be coached by Ken Norton? That is going to be a serious position group. But we have to have linebackers.
Yeah, we've got to get some. We've got to get some guys with some talent because we haven't got any. Let's face it. The most talented one we've got is Davis, and we don't even know what he really is. We're thinking he's a borderline bust at this moment. So, it's man, it's we'll have to see how it goes. I think a lot of the chat in the chat there, they talk about Cam Curl.
Yeah, I've seen that. About what his yearly average was.
He's definitely going to get extended before free agency. It'd be interesting to see that. That's interesting as well. He knows all these little things that I don't know about.
Yeah, he does the little bits that I did say earlier.
I don't know about, but
I did shout him out earlier and said, look, it's cuts, isn't it? When you're a veteran, you don't have to go through waivers. It's only young guys that go through waivers. So, but there'll be some who are young guys who we look at and go, oh, actually, these players are great. So, I don't know.
What do you think about that? There, Viscount says 4 years, 40 mil for Curl.
That's too little. I think he's looking for more like 50.
And
55.
then you've got the looks talking about the guarantees, which is totally right.
Of course, it is. Absolutely, absolutely.
Totally right.
It's about what the signing bonus is. It's guaranteed. What's guaranteed and what's the signing bonus. And this is the good thing, Deluxe and Viscount, about having a cash-rich owner. And what I mean by that is, yes, his money is in business and bonds and whatever else, but you telling me that this group of billionaires between us hasn't got, more than a halfpenny to rub together? They have. It's not Dan Snyder anymore, where he would not pay guaranteed money and would not.
And this is probably the reason why I think Josh actually bought it the way he did with all these different owners, because if he's putting most of the money in to buy the place and be the head guy, then he's going to be a bit skint, isn't he? Let's face it, he is. As in, he's got no assets left or cash left where he can just go whack. Where he's got 25 other owners who can also sum up some dollar to help with these signing bonuses and cap.
Where what was it? 30? Was it 30% you had to put up front?
Yeah, and
so what's 30% of what's 30% of $6 billion? I don't know. That's it's a lot of dollar. So
nearly $2 billion.
Nearly $2 billion. Yeah.
Nearly.
So you have to find that in cash, liquid assets to buy this team. It's a lot of money.
He didn't sell those other teams he's got as well to do that. So, but yeah, man.
Yeah,
and interesting from Roger. I can't see us getting this guy, but
you're not going to get Neighbors. Neighbors might even go wide receiver 1. Genuinely,
maybe. I think Harrison's going to be 1, but then I think he's going to be number 2 or Doomsday.
That's what I mean. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah,
so he's definitely going to be top 3 wide receiver taken. It's just
I think Malik Neighbors is definitely around the.
He's definitely top 12. I think he's top 3. I think he's top 3 receiver, probably top 15 pick, probably
12 to 15 thereabouts. Yeah, there's no chance of getting him, but. No chance. That just about does us in, Scouts. Thanks everyone in the chat. So Rod, Jesse, Deluxe, Viscount, Scott G.
Man, it's good to have a few people.
Yam, who was in earlier. My wife Karen, shout out to you for your banter as well. I appreciate it. Everyone who submitted a question: Tim, Deluxe again, Dave, Richard Cameron, Rod himself, Viscount's put one in himself, Jesse's put them in. Really, really appreciate you being on with us. Last week was our biggest numbers. On X and on live stream. Not almost got the biggest pod we've had on downloads, but honestly, we can't thank you enough for being with us. You are the lifeblood of this show. If it wasn't for you, it would be me and Scouts just chatting rubbish. Try and keep the mic going. We've got quite a bit to talk about next week with the Combine coming up. Who was good, who wasn't. And that just about does us. So thanks everyone.
It's nice to have some people that actually have some like real life conversation actually going on live.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's nice.
I agree with that, mate.
Yeah. Cool.
But, that just about. I think that just about does us. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you again next week.